Hello everybody, it's Jill with Greenwood Girl Cards, and I am coming on to do some paper piecing using a beautiful stamp from Red Lead, and it comes in two different sizes here, and I have shown this stamp before, I believe, maybe not. I've talked about this stamp, but I don't know if I've shown it. This is the company, Red Lead Paperworks. There's their website. But I thought I would also really quick just mention, a few people were asking about the snowmen that I used on the snowmen tags that I showed on my Saturday Morning Makes episode 2 video. And these are those snowmen, and this is a cut file that Kathy Jacopovich of Peachy Keen Stamps designed. And after the video, I did load that cut file onto the drop-down menu, and I also put it in the comments section. So if you're interested in this particular snowman design and you want to purchase the cut file, you can certainly do that. And I believe even if you don't have a machine that cuts, you can, I'm pretty sure you'd have to read the information over on the website, but I'm pretty sure you could print it and hand cut it also if you're interested in having these particular snowman shapes. So I just wanted to mention that because it happened post video. Anyway, so Kathy, I love those shapes that she designed. And just so you guys know, Kathy has a wonderful release coming out this Saturday. And I am hoping to share some projects with you over the weekend, if not before. We'll see how timing goes and what I'm able to accomplish. But I had a request to show how to paper piece a stamp. And so I wanted to pick a stamp that's fairly easy to paper piece. You want to pick something, in my opinion, that isn't too intricate so that when you stamp it and then have to cut it out, it has lines that are fairly easy to follow with your scissor. And this is one of those stamps. So I'm going to paper piece this stamp and let you guys watch while I do so. So to start with, you want to have depending on how you're, what you're going to use, I'm going to use brown ink for this particular image because I'm going for kind of a more vintage look. So I'm going to use this Memento Rich Cocoa. And the stamps come on this little sheet, and I could certainly stick this in a MISTI, but I know that there's quite a few that have asked about when you can't get a good impression with a stamp, what do I do? And I have one particular woodblock stamp that doesn't give a good impression no matter how hard I press. And one of the tricks that I like to do, especially as I've gotten older and it's harder to press things, is to lay the stamp flat on your work surface, and then you ink it up. I'm going to remove this one because I'm not going to use that right now. And I'm going to leave this on the carrier sheet, and I'm just going to ink it up flat on my work surface. And you can, this is the first time I've stamped this image, so you want to make sure that you ink it up really well. And I don't know how inky this ink pad is. It's always good for your brown and black inks or inks that you use frequently to have the refill there, or to replace the pads fairly frequently. Sometimes your pads get worn out, edges and stuff like that, and it's just better to just get a new pad. But you want to ink the stamp up really, really well. Make sure that all of the surfaces are covered and that you can really see the coverage on the stamp, okay? Then you're going to set this aside. And one of the things you can do just to help is blow on it. Back in the day, we always blew on our stamps. And that just makes the ink a little bit wetter. But what I'm going to do is take the pattern paper that I want to use, and I'm going to turn it face down on the stamp. And right now I'm just trying to get the dress image. That's what I'm most concerned about, is the dress image. So I'm just going to press the pattern paper that I chose for the dress down on the stamp, and I'm going to make sure that I get a good impression. So I'm just using my fingers, and you can put a piece like a carrier sheet of paper over this if you want, but I usually don't bother. And then you pull up and you have a beautiful stamped image, okay? And the only part I'm going to use right here is the dress part, okay? So that's one way to do it. And then to paper piece, you're going to want to trim out what you just stamped. And basically, you're going to be stamping each section separately. And on this particular image, I don't want to paper piece the wings because they have beautiful detail. And instead, I'm just going to color the wings. So I just want to paper piece the collar and the dress. And then the rest of this, you could paper piece the stand if you wanted to, but I think I'm just going to color it because, again, it has really pretty detail here. So I'm mainly just going to paper piece the collar here and the dress. And I decided to do the collar or the dress with this word paper. And then I thought I would do the collar part out of this floral paper. And this happens to be a sheet of paper from Iralamija Shop on Etsy. And I believe she still sells this there. And I just cut the pieces apart to get to what I wanted to make for this card. And I have a pink card base here with the polka dot paper, and I'm not sure if I might put a different paper behind here. And then I'm going to paper piece the dress out of these two. And I might change my mind and do the dress out of this and the collar out of the words. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to play around a little bit here. And then I'll show you what I do to actually paper piece it. So I'm going to stamp or ink the stamp up again because now I want to get the collar. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the whole thing again because I might want to do the dress in the floral and the collar in the, let's make sure I have this right side up, and the collar with the, yeah. So I'm just going to go down again and press. And this is just a really easy way to get a good impression on your stamp without having to press down from above or use a MISTI. Because I know a lot of people don't necessarily have a MISTI, and you don't really need one. They're nice to have, you guys. The functionality of them is wonderful. I don't want to diminish how wonderful they are. But if you can't afford, you know, $40 to $60 for a tool like that, you can certainly do it this way. So here I have the entire dress in the floral print, which I think I like that better. And then I'm going to use this little piece up here for the collar out of the lined, the word paper. So that's what I'm going to do. So then what you want to do once you have your images, the parts that you want to paper piece stamped, is you're going to take your scissors, and it's helpful to have a small pair of scissors like this. And you're going to begin trimming out your image, and you want to cut as close to the line of the actual image as you can, almost like right on top of it. And what you're going to end up doing is when you cut anything out of a pattern paper, the edges tend to be white. And what you want to do, and oftentimes what I'll do is rough cut first, because it's helpful to not have to it's helpful to have the rough cut done. It makes it easier to get in and do the other cutting. So we'll go like that. But it's going to leave a white edge as you trim around the image. And that white edge, you're going to take a brown marker and you're going to go around and just use the brown marker to darken the brown or the white edge for where the paper kind of shows. And that helps it to look more finished. So I'm just going to follow the edge of this dress line all the way around and end up with just the dress cut out away from the rest of the stamp. Okay. And you just want to be as careful as you can to follow the lines of the image. And you want to turn your paper and not your scissors, if that makes sense. So let the paper, you know, you're going to turn your paper as you're cutting. And just follow the line of the dress. And if you can't see good because there's stuff in the way, just cut that part away. So you're sure to get a good, a nice line, okay? And you can see the edge of the paper is white. So you're going to take a brown marker, and let me show you that. Let's see what would match this one best. Normally I would not use a copic marker. I would use something like this, but with a different type of tip. And I'll show you, I have this black marker right here. It's better to have like a loose tip like that, I think. It's easier. But here I'm going to show you using a copic, depending on what you have. You're just going to take a marker and you're going to run it along the edge where that white paper is. And I hope you can see what I'm doing. But it just darkens that white right up. Okay, and that helps it look more finished. So I hope you can see that. Okay, and let me show you against something solid. So you can see the edge down here I haven't done yet, and then the edge that I did do. Okay, so you're just going to trim all the way around, and then once you have it trimmed out all the way, you're actually going to glue it down to a stamped image that you put on a regular piece of cardstock. So let's finish making the cuts here around this. And I'm just going to show you. I'm going to cut around. I'm trying to see if that's part of the collar. I don't think it is. So we're going to cut around the face here. I hope I'm in frame. It's always hard to watch the camera whenever you're fussy cutting something. It's hard to watch the camera because you got to watch what you're cutting. But I'm trying to stay in frame. All right. I'm going to cut the head off, and then we'll come around this piece of the collar. And actually, that's part of the dress right there. So we're actually going to come down this way. And we're going to go down around the dress right here. And don't worry, if you make a mistake, you can always restamp it and start cutting again. And sometimes even if you make a miscut, you can disguise it with a flower, so. And then any areas where you've cut where you see that there's still some white left behind, just take your scissor and go in and try and clean it up a little bit. But there we go. So there's our little dress, and we'll just, normally I wouldn't use a copic, I would use just a regular brown, usually a Memento or some other type of marker, but this is what I have in brown on my desk, so I'm going to use this. Copics do bleed a little bit, so it's not the ideal situation, but just go really lightly, really quick and really lightly around the edge. Okay, and then you get this kind of nice finished edge that way where that white doesn't show. So I'm just going to go really fast. And I'm usually I have a bag of markers. They're just upstairs, and I've been up and down the stairs 3 times trying to prep this already, and I just want to show you because someone was asking for this video. Okay, so there's our dress. It's all outlined in blue or black or brown ink. Oh my goodness, you guys. I can never talk on camera. Okay, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to move all this out of the way, and I'm not going to cut the collar out of the other paper while I'm on the video because it's going to take too long, and I don't want this video to be super long. I just want you guys to get the gist of how to paper piece. So I want to glue that dress down onto the image that I'm going to use for the card. So we're going to re-ink up our image. And remember, you want to get a good inking on it. Make sure it's well covered. And sometimes it's helpful to bring it up and really look at it and make sure you don't have any over inking or anything like that. And then I'm just going to put this down. And because I have that backer on there, it's easy for me to center my angel onto the card. So we're going to make sure we get the wings and the head and then the whole body and the whole base. All right, and there we go, a beautiful stamped image. There's a little bit of inking, over inking right there, but that's okay. I can fix it when I color it. So there is our image. And there's a couple different ways you could do this. You could cut this entire image out now, and then you could place the cutout image onto your card with the paper piecing. But essentially, you're literally going to just glue the paper pieced dress onto the card right here. Okay, and then you can also layer up the other pieces. You can cut these out so that they're raised up and prop them up with tape. And that would make the face look out, you know, above the dress size. So that's a nice thing to do too. So there's, you know, you can get really fancy when you're paper piecing, and you can cut things multiple times and use pop-up tape to make things look more dimensional. And that's a really fun way to make a card. You know how you buy dimensional stickers and they have multiple layers of the same image and different pieces are popped up higher than the others. You can do that, but with paper piecing too, just by cutting out the different things and layering them up taller. So I am going to go ahead and keep working on this card off camera, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. But for those of you that were trying to understand how you paper piece, probably the most important things I would say is that you want to pick an image that will be fairly easy to paper piece, something that you can cut around and that isn't too intricate. It's a little bit, it's not that you can't do more intricate ones, you can, but it definitely takes a lot of patience to cut around really intricate images. So it's helpful to find things that are fairly straightforward to cut around. And this is one of those images by Red Lead that I think is very easy to paper piece. I think the other images by them that I paper pieced include those butterfly girls. I'm pretty sure I paper pieced those in a Saturday Morning Makes episode in 2021, and I'll try and link that episode below. I don't know if I showed the paper piecing, but you can see what the paper piecing looks like. So that just gives you some idea on how to paper piece, and I hope it answers some of the questions that the person who asked for a paper piecing video wanted answered. And if you have additional questions about paper piecing, please leave them in the comments below, and I can certainly do a more detailed video if it's needed. But we're already at almost 17 minutes just on this little bit that I showed. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea, and I will keep working on this and then come back and maybe cut out all the pieces, get everything ready, and then come back and assemble it on the next video. Okay, thanks everybody, and don't forget about the cut files from Kathy. These are in the shop already, so if you're interested in this cut file, you can already get it. And then if you watch her site Saturday morning at 8 a.m., there's going to be a ton of beautiful new stamp sets, physical stamp face sets, and then there's also going to be digital stamps, and you're going to love them. They're hot cocoa themed and gingerbread themed. So be watching her site on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. This coming Saturday, which is, let's see, 14th. It'll be the 15th, okay? And she'll have a beautiful new release on her site. So I'm excited to play with the stamps, and I hope to come back. And I just got everything today, and it's Thursday afternoon, so I'm hoping to be able to make something and share it with you very soon. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with you again soon. Bye now.